Hey everyone, my name is Tiffany Lawson. This is Linda Lou Curtis, and we are going to do a mock listing appointment today. So here we go.
Hi, Tiffany. It's great to meet you today.
Hi, Linda. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So, I heard that your neighbor referred you to me.
Yeah, I see your signs out all over the neighborhood. So I said, she might be the girl to sell my home.
Awesome. All right. Well, I get nervous when they do that, but anyway, so what I did in preparation for our meeting today is I ran some comps.
Okay.
And when I run the comps, what I'm looking at is what has actually sold here in your community, because
Okay.
that really gives us the best idea on where we should price the home.
Oh.
Okay, and so looking at your neighbors that have sold recently, you're here at Four Kings Boulevard. So we sold one at 186 Dutchess, and that one sold for $57 a square foot. It did take about 150 days during that time to get that one sold. And these were all done, sold within the last 3 to 4 months.
Oh.
This one here at 29 Kings sold for $69 a square foot. That was a very updated home. And this one, as you can see, was a 2008, so a much newer home, and it sold for $64 a square foot. And that one took 240 days to sell. So our goal is to sell your home within 2 to 3 months, and that is one of the reasons we really narrowed down where it should be priced. So yours is a 1972, and it is the largest home in the park, I realize, so it's 1,800 square feet. And when I look at your home and compare it to these, the comps came in at $113,000 based on the average of $63 a square foot. And then I looked at your home and compared it to the one that seemed, in my opinion, to be the most similar, and I believe it was this one at $57 a square foot. So I got $102,000. Now, as you know, because you've lived here for a little while, this park is not a $100,000 per home type of park. It just, those numbers really don't work in this community. And you understand that, right? Because you've seen what the homes have been selling for in here. Yours is quite large. So my recommendation is about $79,900, somewhere in that range.
Do you think if I updated anything in my home, I could get more money?
No, actually, it's, people are going to come in, they're going to possibly have a whole different preference of colors. They may like a different type of floor. So I wouldn't suggest putting any more money into it at this point. It needs to be clean and staged nicely in this price range. But I don't think that that's going to be an issue. You shouldn't have to put any more money into it.
Okay.
And are you okay in this range? Do you agree with the fact that this park just isn't going to pull in those numbers?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense if based off of the previous sales, depending on how long it takes. So I do want to sell it, sooner than later. So if I have to come in at that price and it will sell, that's what I got to do.
Right. And were you going to be moving back north, or what is your...
Yeah, I really miss my family up north. I've been here in sunny Florida for a while now, but I do want to be closer to family.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Well, I feel like in this range, it should certainly sell within a couple of months. This gentleman here had this one listed, and we sold that in 30 days. Okay. And he came in just a little under market because he did want to sell it fast, and I think this one should work for you. Okay. So then they signed that. And that is actually how my conversation went with that particular seller. Okay. And she understood that because she had just bought the home a year ago, and she knows what she paid for it. All right, so the first thing I do while I'm sitting there and collecting their information is I fill out our listing checklist. So that looks like that. I don't know if y'all can see it. And I just mark off everything, get their phone number, and mark if I have the original title, things like that. Okay, and obviously I'm going to ask you for your titles. I need to collect some information from the titles.
Okay.
And your driver license, please.
Okay.
And then I'll tell them that I do need to take a picture of these. Is that all right with you?
Yeah.
I really don't like taking a picture of driver license without their permission. It just seems appropriate. So I get their information, then I start filling out some of this paperwork here. And
what is this paperwork?
This is your listing agreement. So I kind of feel like if we had that's your listing agreement. And so you're going to put the seller's information at the top, today's date, the address that you're actually listing. So it's a little different than our sales agreement, because that one you put the buyer's actual address. So you're going to use the listed address, the community name, manufacturer, ID number, and all of that. The terms of sale, the A is occupancy. For that, we're looking for, and this is something I go over with the seller every time because it is important. So typically when we have an offer on a home, we set a closing. And just to help you understand the process of that, we normally would do a walkthrough the day of closing or possibly the day before. And once that is finished and then we have the closing, we hand the buyer the keys. So at that time, you typically would have all your personal belongings out of the home and made your home available for the walkthrough, and then that's final. Does that work for you? Would you be able to have all your belongings out of the home the day of closing? Now, sometimes this gets complicated for a seller. They don't understand. Why are we asking them to get out of their home before they actually closed? So I don't know if it's done differently in other states, but this does seem to come up as an issue. So I try to cover it very thoroughly. So it's at least, it was mentioned to them at least once before closing that this is how it's done. So in other words, if we get a buyer, let's say this month we get a buyer, we set the closing for about 30 days out. That gives time for inspections, park approval, and would that give you enough time to box up and get everything ready to be moved?
Yeah, but what if I needed an extra 2 weeks after the closing date?
Okay, so that is part of the negotiation with the buyer.
Okay.
It's typically not preferred, and the reason, the way I explain it is it's a liability issue for the new buyer, because now their insurance doesn't cover rentals if it's a homeowner's insurance policy.
I see.
Right? And so your belongings wouldn't be covered. They would actually have to get a rental insurance policy for the time that you're in the home. So we really try to discourage that. But if it is something that you absolutely need to have done, then we make that part of the negotiation with the buyer.
Okay.
So sometimes we have forms, there are forms that we can do this. So that is a possibility. So are you okay with giving occupancy at closing?
I'll be out.
Okay, it makes things a little easier all the way around. We're not trying to make you homeless though. So if you need more time, then we negotiate that when an offer is brought to you.
Okay.
So that usually I write at closing there unless I know that there's extenuating circumstances.
Okay.
And then the other thing is the sale of this home includes all lighting fixtures. So what I do is I ask the seller, I say, do you know if you'll be removing any hardware fixtures of the home, such as ceiling fans, curtain rods, curtains, antennas, things of this nature? Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm leaving it all. I'll get all new stuff.
Okay. So you will be leaving the curtains and the curtain rods. All right.
Yes.
All right. I always kind of touch on those. That's one of the things that people
Never
get
know.
attached to with their curtains.
Yeah, not me.
Okay. So then I would write there no exceptions.
Okay.
And then you go to seller represents that the refrigerator, stove, and all that works. So I would ask them, at this time, could you initial here that to the best of your knowledge, at this moment in time, all your appliances are in good working order?
Yes.
Now, sometimes they may come up and say, well, I haven't run the dishwasher in like 5 years.
Yeah.
And so you might want to make sure it works.
Okay.
All right. And then furnished or unfurnished. And basically, if they're removing everything from the home, it's unfurnished. If they're leaving a sofa, it's furnished according to an inventory list that we write up with them and have them sign it. And then you will mark off all your appliances that they are leaving in the home. And okay, and so then the list price is going to be the $79.9 that we agreed on.
Yep.
Based on the comps. And then our commission, based on that price, is actually our lowest commission, which is 6%. But it will be no less than $4,000. So what that means is if you accept a much lower offer later, in the future here, the commission will never be lower than $4,000.
And do I pay that as a seller, or
Yes.
can the buyer pay that?
Now the buyer will have closing costs that basically equal 6% or more for the state assessed fees. So the commission is paid by the seller, and remember, this is not real estate. So this is basically it's a percentage of your sale.
Got it.
At the time. All right, so then you write the 6%, you write the $4,000, and then I go to the listing period, which I've always done just 6 months, because the majority of the time it really does sell within 2 to 3 months. So when I get to this, I'll say, now, as far as the term of our listing, we generally like to do a year, just to reduce paperwork in the event that it hasn't sold within that time. And our goal is to sell it within 2 to 3 months, but are you okay with me listing it for a year? Sometimes it's okay. I wrote one the other day, it was just fine. Other times, oh no, I don't want to take that long to sell. Well, that doesn't mean it's going to take that long to sell, but we do have to have a contract in place. So are you okay with that? And if they're not, I'll do 6 months, but no less than 6 months. All right, and then I really don't go over every bit of this other than to say, now during this time, we do have exclusive rights to sell your home. And what that means is, if you were to bring a buyer, let's say a family member came into the picture, said they wanted to buy your home, the sale of your home would still need to go through 4-Star Homes. Okay. We would handle the closing, and you would still owe the commission. And likewise, if your property manager, the park manager, referred someone and they bought the home, I'm happy to pay them a commission out of my commission, a referral out of my commission. But the sale still needs to go through 4-Star Homes. We handle all the paperwork. Now, our agents are the only ones that will have access to your home. So being that this is not real estate, we don't co-broker with other real estate companies. Okay. So you will only be dealing with 4-Star Home agents. But if a real estate agent brings the buyer, and let's say I meet them here and their buyer wants to buy the home, the sale still goes through 4-Star, and again, I pay that real estate agent out of my commission.
A referral fee.
A referral fee, yeah.
Got it.
So there's that, and then, I tell them I'll be putting a sign out there, and then if there's no lien, I just mark a line through that, because you don't want to leave it open. And if you're doing it on DocuSign, you just write NA in there. You don't want to leave any blank lines. You want to put something on everything. Then we're on number 7, the transaction. This is where you're going to have them initial, and I always circle it, initial that this is not real estate. So I'll say, please initial here that you do understand that this is not a real estate transaction and it is not regulated or governed as such. And then they'll do that. Oh, it's not real estate, they say. I'm like, no, this is actually through the Department of Motor Vehicles. Sometimes they forget that aspect. Safety compliance. So basically at this point, I have them initial here, and then it's already pointed to them, and I explain to them. Now, once you are finished reading every part of this contract that you would like to read, please sign and date as the seller. So I don't read every single word to them. But if they're like, well, I think you already explained everything to me, I'm like, yes, but right here it talks about your safety compliance. You know, there should be a smoke alarm and a fire extinguisher in the home for everyone's safety and such. And if you owe any past due lot rents or past due registrations, you do need to pay those before closing. And if they ask me about the default, basically how I explain that is, in the event that we bring you a full price cash offer, no contingencies, and you decline it, you have basically defaulted on our contract because we did our job. We brought you an offer, full price, and you declined the offer. So then at that point, you would owe the commission to Four Star Homes. I mean, that's my take on it, and that's how I explain it. So anyway, I always give them time to read all this, and I tell them, please take your time, read over the contract. I'll sit here quietly so you can read, because I was in insurance a long time, and you do have to give them the option. They usually don't exercise it, but...
What would someone ever put in special clauses?
Special clauses, you really shouldn't be using that. Let's say you took the original titles. I might write in there, agent has titles. That makes them feel a little better that it was on their contract.
Okay.
There is a certificate that we can have filled out that says we have the titles. This, to me, does the same thing. You just mark in there that they gave us the titles. Other special clauses, if, let's say, they wanted to offer free rent or something.
Okay.
But it had to be a full price offer. I mean, I try not to use that too much because less is better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's that.
So I sign it and I'm ready to go. Now what?
Yep. All right. And then you have them do the limited power of attorney form. And you can put 2 titles on the one form. And that is a limited power of attorney. That authorized, well, how I explain it, okay, I fill out the year, make, and all of that from the titles, and then your driver license, this has to match their driver license. So even if their driver license address is different than the address you're listing, you still have to use the driver license. And also you need to make sure it's an active driver license or ID. You can use an ID, and you can use a passport, I think.
And why do you not put the date at the very top?
I don't know why.
Okay.
But I don't.
But we don't. Okay.
No, because that's the day they're going to go down to the DMV.
I see. Okay. So we leave it blank.
We leave it blank, yeah.
Got it.
But it definitely should say Four Star Homes, as you hereby name and appoint. That should say Four Star Homes for sure. Okay, and then also you want to mark off mobile home, because that's generally what it's going to be, a mobile home. So you mark that. They do have to sign in a blue pen. Always make sure it's a blue pen, and that is so it shows that it's an original. When they make a copy, it'll change the color of the blue, but they'll know it's an original.
Can
a black,
they
you can't
DocuSign
tell.
this?
They can DocuSign this. It's much easier done by DocuSign. Then you don't have to mail it into the office. Okay, so basically, sometimes you're going to get some feedback on this. Like they're going to ask you why do they have to do this?
Okay.
And I explained to them that this is actually required by the DMV, and we must have this on file because they do audit our office. And there's only been a couple of times where someone really did not want to do it.
Why?
Because it's a power of attorney form.
I see.
So I try not to give it, I don't ask for their permission because I know I have to have it. So I just have it all filled out, and I just turn it around and say, this is a limited power of attorney form that 4-Star can use one time after the sale of your home. And this is to authorize them to transfer the title into the new buyer's name after the closing. And that usually fixes any problem, but then they just sign their normal signature. They don't have to do anything special there.
And what if you mess up this paper?
If you make any type of mistake on this form, you have to start over. So DocuSign is much easier. I have had to rewrite this at least 3 times before.
We can't have that.
Not fun. All right, inventory list. Okay, we're not looking for check marks. We're looking for numbers.
Okay.
So now we're going to inventory the furniture that you intend to leave with the sale of the home. So I'm only going to ask you things that you are definitely willing to leave. If there's anything in question, let's not put it on there just in case you decide you want to take it. So in the living room, I see you have 2 sofas. Are you leaving both of those sofas?
Now, do you recommend I leave furniture? Would it make my house sell quicker? Would it help the sale of my house? What do you think?
Well, your home is actually staged very nicely, and the furniture is modern, and it looks like it's in very good condition. So if you don't need the furniture where you're going, I would suggest leaving it.
Okay.
A lot of times we have buyers come from Canada, up north, and they really traveling light with their luggage, and this gives them at least some furniture to carry them through the initial phase, you know, once they move in. So some furniture is good. Actually, some dishes, silverware, pots and pans is helpful too.
Okay.
And we'll just indicate on here what you're willing to leave,
Okay.
and then we'll go from there. And so then I want to write 2 sofas. Are you leaving both the end tables?
Yes.
All right, 2 end tables. What about the lamps on the tables?
You know, I think I actually might take those.
Okay, no
I have
problem.
they're a little close to my heart. So.
Very good, very good. And what you did say you were leaving the curtains, so
Yes.
you're leaving these. So I would write a Y for yes on the curtains. I'm not going to write down how many curtains there are.
Okay.
I write a Y for yes, or just write yes. TV, you know, things like that. If you have extra things that's not on the list, you can always write it on the line underneath.
Okay.
Underwear?
Okay.
Underneath.
I knew what you meant.
And dining room is separate from kitchen. So if it's an eat-in kitchen, you're just going to fill out the kitchen area and make a line through the dining room. But if it's a separate dining room, you're going to fill this out. When it comes to the buffet, the ones that are built into the wall, you're not marking that. It's part of the home. You don't have to mark that. But everything else, yes. And the kitchen, when it comes to dishes, glassware, pots and pans, again, I'm writing a Y for yes if they agree to leave it. You don't have to leave all of it, but at least like a 4-place setting to get someone started would be helpful.
Okay.
Washer and dryer is under the the kitchen section. Bedrooms, same thing. You're looking for numbers and yeses. Florida room, what have you.
Got it.
All right, so we did all that. And then when I'm finished getting all the required documents, or sometimes in the beginning during the conversation phase, I'm going to be filling out this list and description sheet. Now these I type up online to send into the office, but in the field, I use this to remind myself of information so I can write up a good description. And also, when you leave the home, you're not going to remember if it has cathedral ceilings or, you know, if it's smoke free, different things like this. So filling this out in the home is very useful. So let's see.
Do you recommend too, maybe you forgot to do that, so you take pictures?
Well, you do, yeah.
You have to take pictures.
You can get some
right?
of the information from pictures, but it's
easier
still,
to do it at the property.
I always do this.
Okay.
This is going to be my 10th year anniversary, you know.
Congratulations.
October, yeah. So at the top, if it is a waterfront home, literally on the canal or on the lake, and you can see it, that's a waterfront. Across the street, you can see the lake. No, it's not waterfront. Bank-owned, seller financing, that's if they want to offer seller financing. Home warranty, that's through the Old Republic. Haven't been doing a lot of that, so.
What does home warranty cover?
Yeah, well, we have a booklet I'm happy to share with you.
Okay.
It makes for a very good read.
Okay.
But it is only going to cover major appliances, things that are built in. So in other words, a built-in microwave would be covered where countertop microwave would not be.
Okay.
Your hot water is under the warranty, hot water heater, sorry, washer and dryer, stove, refrigerator. And the AC with some limited coverages because some things are regulated by the state and they're not covered under the warranty.
Do I, as the seller, offer a home warranty to the buyer? Is that
You
how that
could,
works?
you could. It's I believe $75, but you would need to let me think. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of something else. Yes, you could offer a home warranty to the buyer, yes.
Okay.
And there is a home warranty for the seller only if you offer the warranty to the buyer. So it's at a reduced rate of like $75. And if all the appliances, like the air conditioner, the hot water heater, and everything's old in the home, I might suggest that because it could really help the seller out. Like if they're trying to sell their home and their air condition goes out, they got to come up with $8,000 to get a new AC. Well, that warranty would be at a much reduced fee. I don't know what they are because they keep changing them.
Okay.
But that's when you get the booklet and send them a booklet, let them look it over real good.
Where do I get my booklet from?
I would send it to them.
From Old Republic.
Okay. Yeah, they can go on that website actually, but it's a little complicated.
Okay.
So it's easier if we send it to them.
Okay.
But there's some great coverages in there, and there are options to upgrade. So whatever suits them, but that's how they get a reduced fee by offering it to the buyer.
Got it.
Yeah. It's good to have if the appliances are older for sure. All right, so I think a lot of this is self-explanatory. The unit ID, titles, information.
The unit ID is the VIN.
The VIN number, yep. The street address, etc. Your lockbox code. And if you want agents to call you, you should write that. It helps. Remind them.
Do you give your lockbox code away?
Never give it away to anyone that's not an agent with 4-Star Homes. You don't give it to the seller. You don't give it to the park manager. You don't give it to buyers or other real estate companies, but you can give it to other agents within 4-Star Homes. But again, if you want them to call you to make an appointment, you should write call agent in there. All right, the keys, a lot rent. The lot rent should be the current market rate, not what the seller is paying currently. So it's best to call the park office and ask them, you know, I just listed a home, and it's a good way to introduce yourself to them also. But see, I just listed a home in, let's say Corley, and I'd like to list it with a current market rate so a new buyer knows what they're going to pay to move in. And that's the rate you should put there.
Okay.
And then you want to include what that rent that you listed actually includes. Does it cover lawn, water, sewer, trash, sometimes irrigation? It just depends. But For example, Mid Florida Lakes has a base rent right now. It's like $748 for a standard lot. That covers lawn care only. The park bills for water, sewer, trash, so we're not adding it in. So we're listing a lower rate, but we're not adding it in here. So when you sell the home, you explain your base rent is the $748, but the park will bill you for water, sewer, and trash. So, you know, the water and sewer roughly around $60, trash around $30.
So what I'm hearing is that you should probably talk to someone at the office to understand what's included or not included for anyone new purchasing a home in the park.
Right, the agent needs to know exactly what is included.
Got it.
And if they don't, they need to find out. Yep. And the offices are always happy to tell you. They're happy to answer your questions. I've never had them give me a hard time.
Okay.
They'd rather you have the right information than their buyer go in there to sign the lease and say, I thought my rent was $500. You're saying it's $700. No, that's an awful experience for the park manager to have to go through. And that is why we use the market rate, because if you tell them, well, the seller's paying $500, but the market rate $748, that's really going to cause a problem. All right. Then down here is where I indicate, is there cathedral ceilings on tie downs? Unless I know for a fact it has tie downs, I'm not marking that, because I don't want to be responsible for saying there's tie downs and there's not.
Well, the sellers usually know.
Yes, but general rule, I think it was 1976 and over have tie downs. You can feel comfortable that it has tie downs. 1958s, 1960s, early 70s, you should check and make sure there's some type of tie down in there. If you can't see it, you just don't mark it. I mean, you don't know, then don't mark it. The rest of this, I think pretty much all that is self-explanatory. All right, so there's that. All right, so I think we've listed your home. That's all the paperwork for today. Now, did you have a key, a spare key, that I could put in a lockbox for our agents to access in the event that you're not home when we do the showing?
I do.
Okay, great.
Do you collect that now?
If you have it available, I can put a lockbox. It won't affect your ability to open your door or anything like that. It just gives us access to your home, like I said, in case you're out of town or something. Anytime we have a showing scheduled for your home, the agent should call me first and I'll call you. If an agent happens to knock on your door and they have a business card, it's really up to you and what you feel comfortable with if you want to show it. If you haven't heard from me, you're not obligated to show your home to anyone.
Okay.
So certainly not anyone that doesn't have a business card to hand to you. So if you feel okay showing it, go ahead, let them look. But if not, ask them to contact me directly.
Okay.
So I say that especially to elderly or single people, so they feel safe. I mean, they shouldn't have to show their home if they weren't notified.
Okay.
If there's a pet in the home, generally I don't want to put a lockbox. I want the seller to let us in, take their pet with them, what have you, but I don't want to be responsible for a cat sneaking out or a dog running out the door. I've never had it happen, so whatever I've done has worked.
Okay.
But I don't put lock boxes on a home that has pets running around.
Okay.
If they're in a kennel, that's different, but just running loose, I don't feel comfortable with that.
Okay. So I've done my paperwork. You've taken pictures of my home.
Oh, now we're going to talk about taking pictures.
Oh, okay, let's go.
So this could take a short amount of time, or this could take a while.
Okay.
So you kind of assess the situation. If you're there writing up the listing and the home is very presentable and you only have to go around and move a few things, Great. This
What-
is a good time to take pictures.
What are you moving?
I do not take pictures of anything that has to do with pets. No water bowls, food bowls, no pet toys, no pet beds, no cat trees, and no pets. So sometimes the cats will chase us around and will you take the picture with?
Yes, they do.
Or they want to be in every
They want to
picture,
be in every
right?
picture. Yeah.
But and I explain it to the seller like this because you don't want to insult them. This is their home. They love their pets. I just say I try to look at your home from the eyes of a buyer. And if I'm looking at pictures and I see a lot of pet items, I may not know if there's any odors or it's just it can be a turnoff if someone's not a pet person. So I eliminate the pet pictures. What else? Fans, floor fans. I really try not to take pictures of floor fans, and the reason is, if you're a buyer looking at pictures and it says it has central air, but you see fans in every room, your thought may be, well, there might be something wrong with the air conditioner. So I move the fans, take the picture, put the fans back. Your refrigerator, people tend to put magnets on.
Mm-hmm.
Lots and lots of information on the refrigerators. So it's best to put it all in a drawer. If the seller is there, you ask for their help so they know where this stuff is, but you put it in a drawer, take your picture, put everything back. Bathrooms, you don't want a picture of all their shampoos and towels and sponges in the bathroom, but you do want the shower curtain open so we can see, is it a bathtub or is it a walk-in shower, that sort of thing. So you're just going to spend a little time moving some things. The towels in the bathroom, hopefully they match and they look nice, that's fine. But wet towels hanging around, move them. Dirty clothes, move them. I really don't even like taking pictures of garbage cans, especially in the kitchen. I will move the garbage can. What else? Oh, like on a sofa, if they have blankets covering it, I move the blankets because I want it to look fresh. And sometimes throw blankets, it depends how they are, can make something look older.
Got it.
Clutter, sometimes it's out of your control. There might just be way too much or something. You don't want to take pictures of medications, jewelry, stuff like that.
Yeah.
If they're in transition, they have a bunch of boxes, just try to angle it so you're not catching the boxes in the picture.
Okay.
Does that sound like that covered that?
Yes.
And you want their picture of the room, the the size of the room. We're not selling furniture, so we don't really care that we're taking pictures of furniture, but we're really taking a picture of the size of the room.
Speaking of the size of the room, if you don't know, do you bring a measuring tape? Well, I know you've done this for a while, but I know there's a part where you have to know the length and the width.
Yes, yeah, the title only has the length on it, so you do need to know the width. And a tape measure is very helpful. They do have a laser one. I didn't have any luck with that, so I don't recommend it. It cost me like $40 and it was garbage.
Do you do this from the interior or the exterior?
Well, we're usually doing it interior.
Okay.
But the technical measurement is from the eaves.
Okay.
So if you're inside and you're measuring from one wall to the marriage line and it says 13 feet, you can bet that's 14. That's a 28 wide because you calculate the walls in there. 13 is 26. I mean, I would say it's 28.
Okay.
Because you do have to leave a little room for the walls.
Got it.
But so 24, 26, 28 is a normal measurement for a double wide. 12, 14 for a single wide. 16 on occasion if it has a bump out, but that's kind of rare.
Okay.
Anyway, what else?
So we've done all the listing paperwork. We've now taken all these pictures. So how do I know my house is active?
Okay.
How can I look my house up and see it?
Okay, very good. So I've taken all the pictures, and I will take all this and edit it from my home office, and then submit it to our listing admin or coordinator. And I don't have control over her schedule, unfortunately, so it could be 2 to 3 days before that's live online. And they'll notify me that it's active, and then I can send you a link. So can I just text it to you, or do you need that by email?
Yeah, absolutely. You can send it to me. Is it going to be on Zillow?
It'll be our website, and actually, we didn't cover that, did we? Sorry.
That's okay.
So, Forestar has an extensive marketing plan. They actually, I just had a conversation with the owner, and he informed me that their budget is actually $50,000 a month throughout the company for marketing.
Wow.
And what that looks like is basically our listings will go on our website, which, have you seen our website?
I haven't.
It is very user friendly, and it's probably one of the best and what is the word I want to say? It's just user friendly.
Okay.
And we get I think about 30,000 views a month. I think that's right, is it? 30,000?
Yep.
Okay. So we get a lot of views on our website alone, but Forestar has corporate accounts with all the major websites that resell manufactured homes, such as MH Village. So having a corporate account on MH Village allows us to be at the top of the search when someone goes in there and looks for homes in this area. So they'll always see our listings come up first there. Well, generally, I don't want to say always. And then also we have a corporate account with MyState, which is a third-party MLS system for manufactured homes.
Okay.
And that allows our listings to get populated on all the real estate websites, such as Zillow and Trulia, realestate.com and Home Finder, and different real estate websites like that. So they basically pull information from these, and everyone can find your listings all over the internet. I do marketing myself as well. I'll do Facebook Marketplace. And Forestar actually has, they have a campaign where they do paid advertising on Facebook and YouTube, and also Google. So they'll have paid advertisement on all those websites. So it's pretty extensive. And then obviously I can do some open houses for you if you're comfortable with that.
Okay. How does that work?
Well, I'll let you and I will decide what day is good for you, and it'll be for about 2 to 3 hours. And during that time, if maybe you could go out to eat or go shopping, or have some other plans, then you're not sitting around.
Yeah, I have no problem leaving and going shopping.
Okay. And basically, I'll sit here during that time, and I'll do a live video while I'm here to encourage people to come by and talk a little bit about the community and your home. And I'll put that on my Facebook page. And I'll put signs up in front of the park, but we'll advertise this ahead of time. It'll be on Zillow, it'll be on our website, and so people will know that we're having an open house.
Okay, and so do I need to let my property manager know that I'm selling my house, or how does that work?
There are times where that is required. There are a few parks that require an inspection.
Okay.
And Holiday RV Travel is one of those parks, and Clarebrook RV Resort is one of those parks. And basically, I can notify them that you are selling your home, and they will send someone out to do an inspection.
Okay.
But usually we can go ahead and list it and just get the process started.
Got it.
And then if there's some work that needs to be done before you can actually sell it, they'll let you know. Okay. And you'll have to get that work done, or they won't allow you to sell the home. Okay. Leesburg Landing is actually one as well. And they will not approve your buyer if you have not done the work that they require you to do.
Okay, good to know. So I'll cut my grass and pull my weeds.
Yeah, or replace your roof.
Or replace my roof.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions that I should ask that maybe I didn't, or anything else that I should know about the process of selling my home?
Okay.
Does anything else come up usually?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, not unless they have a Federal Pacific electric box or polybutylene plumbing.
Oh, I do have that.
Okay, so I noticed during my walkthrough that you do have a Federal Pacific electric box. And I just want to make you aware of what could come up in an inspection should the buyer request one.
How do you know it's that box?
Well, because it says Federal Pacific on it.
There you go.
And so the reason I bring it up is that insurance has determined these boxes to basically be out of code for their purposes on insuring a home. So they may not offer insurance if you have a Federal Pacific box. And one of the reasons is that it has a high voltage and it may not trip the breaker when it needs to, and it could become a fire hazard.
Okay.
So during a 4-point inspection, which is something that a buyer might request so that they can get insurance, they're going to come and check your roof, they're going to look at the roof and see how much life is left on the roof, what overall condition. They're going to check the plumbing. Is it up to code? What type of materials were used? They're going to check the electric panel to see if anything's double tapped, meaning you ran or more than a couple of things are run to a breaker, which is another fire hazard. And what type of wiring and what type of box it is. Is it all up to code? And it's going to check the air condition to see if it's cooling fast enough, heating appropriately, and such. And then if anything major comes up in that inspection, then it'll be a negotiation between you and the buyer to see if we can't meet in the middle or what have you. But you're not obligated to make any repairs, you know, if that does come up. But I just want to make you aware that a buyer's going to see this, and it may reflect in their offer that it needs to be updated. So I'd rather tell them now than tell them later if I know about it, because they'll be like, well, we listed it for this, why didn't you tell us that our breaker box was out of code? It's not that they're going to change it right away or anything, but they should just kind of have a clue. A lot of people don't even know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
is everyone going to require an inspection?
No, not necessarily, but it depends on the age of the home. So anything, I'd say 1990 and older is going to require an inspection to get insurance.
Okay.
But basically, since the hurricanes, they're requiring them on newer ones because of roofs. They want to make sure that the roof has at least 5 years left on it, so they may require an inspection.
And this is for if people or buyers are wanting a loan.
Not necessarily. So if someone's spending $60,000, $70,000 on a home, they may feel uncomfortable not having insurance from day one. So they may request the inspection just so that they can get insurance.
Okay.
So, but yes, if they are getting a loan, again, depends on the age of the home, they may have to have that inspection.
Got it. Okay. Very good.
All right.
All right.
Any questions, call Tiffany.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and I know this has been a good long video, but well worth it. And thank you so much, Linda, for doing that. So
You're welcome.
that is your listing appointment, mock listing appointment / sidebar training for listing appointment.